You used to be able to read for hours. Now you can't get through 3 pages without checking your phone. Books that once held your attention feel impossible to finish. Conversations that once felt rich now feel slow. This is not a generational personality shift. It is a neurological one, and it has a specific, identifiable cause. Your brain did not break. It was trained by an algorithm that profits from your impatience. TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts deliver a complete emotional payoff in 15 to 60 seconds. Each swipe triggers a microsatisfaction. No gap. No waiting. No discomfort. Your brain adapted. The real answer is far stranger. Your patience wasn't lost. It was stolen. And it can be rebuilt. Short-form content rewires your dopamine system around the expectation of immediate, frequent, low-effort reward. Activities that once produced satisfaction, reading a chapter, working through a complex problem, having a sustained conversation, now register as insufficiently stimulating. The threshold for what counts as rewarding has been raised. This affects everything that matters. Every valuable skill requires months of patient practice. The impatient brain abandons before the skill curve produces rewards, accumulating a graveyard of half-learned things. Genuine understanding of complex subjects requires sustained engagement with long-form material. The brain conditioned to 60-second content finds this increasingly inaccessible, limiting the complexity of thinking it can sustain. Meaningful creative work requires extended periods of sitting with a problem and tolerating the discomfort of not yet knowing the solution. Impatient brains produce shallow, quickly abandoned work. The work that produces the most career growth is almost always difficult, slow to reward, and uncomfortable. The impatient brain defaults to quick, visible, easily rewarded tasks instead. Relationships require patience. To listen fully, to sit with complicated feelings, to invest in rewards that accumulate slowly over years. Phone conditioning erodes all of these capacities. The cruelest aspect is that it makes the activities most worth doing feel the least rewarding. The brain reaches for the phone, which reinforces the conditioning, which makes books and deep work feel more uncomfortable, which drives more phone use. The loop compounds until it is deliberately interrupted. Rebuilding attention span works exactly like rebuilding physical endurance, through progressive overload. Start at your current comfortable capacity and extend gradually. Attempting too much too soon produces failure. Starting small and building consistently produces durable improvement. Establish your baseline, the duration you can sustain focused attention on a demanding activity with acceptable discomfort. If your trigger audit revealed a 7-minute threshold, that is your starting point, not 30 minutes, not 20. Add 2 minutes per week. This produces approximately 20 minutes of additional capacity over 10 weeks without ever feeling impossible. Practice daily without exception. Consistency matters more than duration. A daily 10-minute session produces more neural adaptation than a weekly 70-minute session. Use a physical timer. A visible countdown externalizes the time management the conditioned brain finds difficult. Knowing the session has a defined endpoint reduces the escape urge significantly. Track completion, not quality. Mark every session complete regardless of how focused it felt. Some sessions will flow, others will feel like white-knuckling. Both are training. Both build the pathway. Use physical books, long-form articles printed on paper, or complex analytical work with a single defined task. Avoid screens with multiple tabs, notifications, or any content that can be paused and switched from. When you can sustain 25 minutes of focused engagement with manageable discomfort and no phone checks, your attention span has meaningfully recovered. Boredom tolerance is the master skill of patience. Boredom is not the absence of anything worth doing. It is a transitional state, the gap between one form of engagement ending and the next beginning. It is in this gap that creativity, reflection, and genuine rest occur. People who can tolerate boredom without immediately escaping produce more creative ideas, engage in more meaningful self-reflection, and report higher life satisfaction than those who cannot sit with it. The phone has not just taken your patience, it has taken the creative and reflective space that boredom provides. Deliberate boredom sessions, Sit without your phone, any screen, or any entertainment for a defined period, starting at 3 minutes and building to 15 minutes over 4 weeks. Nothing to do, nothing to watch, nothing to listen to. This is not meditation. It is deliberate practice of tolerating undirected time. Boredom journaling. During or after a session, write whatever came to mind. This reveals what the mind produces when it is not being fed constant input, and frequently produces genuinely useful material. The urge surf technique. When the urge to reach for the phone arrives, observe it rather than act on it. Name it. I notice I want to check my phone. Then watch it as it peaks and subsides within 90 seconds. The urge is a wave. It passes. Reclaim waiting time. Queues, waiting rooms, and transit time are natural boredom opportunities. Practice leaving the phone in your pocket during these moments. The discomfort is real. So is the recalibration it produces. The creative breakthrough, the solution to the problem you could not solve, the insight about your own life. These arrive most reliably in moments of boredom. You cannot access them while scrolling. Phone conditioning reshapes how you listen, how you respond, and how present you are in conversations. The conditioned brain applies the same impatience to conversation that it applies to content, expecting rapid delivery, quick resolution, and the ability to redirect when interest fades. This produces the experience of listening while actually planning your response, half following, or mentally scrolling. Human emotional experience is slow, nonlinear, and often does not resolve neatly. The brain calibrated to 60-second content finds this depth genuinely uncomfortable, driving conversations toward premature resolution or avoidance of depth. Phone checking during meals, mid-conversation, or any pause communicates unavailability. Repeated over time, this erodes the quality of connection. Phone-free conversations. Any conversation worth having is worth having without a phone on the table. The physical presence of a phone, even face down, measurably reduces the quality of conversation. The full listen practice. Listen to completion before formulating any response. Not pretending to listen while constructing your reply, but actually hearing the other person finish before beginning to think about what you will say. Deliberate depth. Ask one follow-up question in every meaningful conversation, not to gather more information, but to signal genuine interest in going deeper. This single practice rebuilds the association between patience and connection. Leave your phone in another room for the next meal with someone you care about. Notice both how unusual this feels and how different the quality of the conversation is. Recovery requires managing the digital inputs that continue to arrive each day. A digital diet is not about deprivation, it is about intentional consumption that supports the rewired brain rather than continuously reconditioning it back toward impatience. Short-form video under 60 seconds is the format most aggressively optimized for the rapid reward pattern. Reducing time in these formats produces the fastest improvement in patience and attention. Infinite scroll feeds with no defined endpoint provide the combination of variable reward and no stopping signal that produces the longest, most depleting consumption sessions. Each notification-driven phone check is a mini conditioning session. Reducing notification volume directly reduces the frequency of this conditioning. Long-form video and podcasts with defined length and a narrative arc train the brain to engage with content that has a beginning, middle, and end. Written long-form content requires active attention maintenance in a way that passive video consumption does not, making it more effective for attention rebuilding. Social media consumed intentionally rather than reflexively loses most of its conditioning power. Set a hard daily limit of 30 minutes total across all short-form platforms, consumed in a single scheduled session rather than throughout the day. The single most impactful dietary change is reducing short-form video consumption. Track your daily short-form video time this week and set a limit at half that number for next week. The brain that feels unable to sit with a book is not a broken brain. It is a trained brain. Training that was built in months can be rebuilt in weeks. Neuroplasticity works in both directions. Patience is not a personality trait. It is a skill, and like every skill, it is built through deliberate practice. So here's the question. What if you stopped blaming yourself for losing patience and started rebuilding it, one session at a time? What if the discomfort of sitting with boredom is not a sign that something is wrong, but the feeling of something being rewired? What if the book you can't finish today becomes the book you can't put down in a month? It can. The only thing left to do is begin. One attention session today. One boredom tolerance moment tomorrow. One phone-free meal this week. That's where it begins. That's where your patience begins. If this video helped you understand why patience has felt harder, hit that like button. Subscribe to Playbook Lab for more practical strategies. The Full Your Phone is training you to be impatient guide, covering the attention protocol, boredom tolerance, conversational patience, digital diet, and your 30-day brain rewire plan, is linked in the description and pinned in the comments. Go check it out. I'll see you in the next video.